remember the provisions. Now, remembering the provisions, you know that you have 160 odd sections and 130 odd rules, forms, fees. We know that memorization can be a task. What I had in mind was to share a piece of information on how to go about with the memorization. There's nothing much turns on the section if you look at it. There are very few direct questions where they ask for the section. They say that which of the section pertains to. Very few in the past has been in that manner. But largely, if you understand the section, then I would suggest that you need to know how the sections interplay with each other. So I had suggested to form a grouping of the sections. Now, if you see that one advantage, and this is something which we have mentioned many times, one advantage of the Patents Act is that the Patent Act and the rules, they imitate the life of a patent. So the act is structured as though the patent begins its life, gets into prosecution, which is where it takes a form, gets granted, and is alive for 20 years by payment of fees. And there are various ways in which the life of a patent can come to an end. So if you see the structure of the act, beginning with application, getting into prosecution, grant. Now, application is around section 6 onwards. It starts application. Then once you file an application, then examination and publication and examination is section 11 and 12. And priority is also a concept linked to it. Then you have what happens from 15, or rather from 13 till 25 is what happens within the patent office, what we call prosecution. So post-prosecution, the patent gets granted. So 43 and all the provisions are related to the grant, and soon after the grant. After it is granted, there could be issues with regard to litigation. This could be issued with regard to compulsory licensing. So after the grant, you have rights of co-owners. What happens when you have to transfer a patent, sell a patent, register it? All those rights are connected. That is from 60 to 80. From 80 to 100 is compulsory license, and 100 onwards is government use. And post 104 is what happens to the patent when it's litigated. So patent infringement and proceedings connected to patent infringement. So you need to understand that when you understand the Patent Act and the rules as structured around the life of a patent, now you can do this grouping exercise. Now the grouping exercise can be done if you have our BAR Act. It makes your life much easier, because with every section we give the cross reference of the relevant rule forms, and if there is a cross reference to the section, other section itself, we give all that. List out all the sections in a group. For instance, 20 to 25 to 26 will be opposition. 82 to or 94 will be compulsory license. So group them and write the corresponding sections next to it. This is one way, so that you at least know which is the range in which a particular provision falls into. Okay. We had also suggested a similar technique for understanding the forms, the list of forms, which gives you the 32 forms. There's a way in which you can understand them by grouping them. So you can watch that video if you want to see how to understand the grouping of forms.